Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour. Brought to you by Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Welcome, Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment lovers. Only one more show this year before all of us here at the Dave Holly Hour take a 2-week break from the show. In fact, if you take time off at the end of the year as well, make sure to take in some of the amazing fine arts and performing arts that we have here in our fine city. That talent includes both of today's guests. Coming up in a few minutes, she loves to dance on stage. She also shows others how to dance on stage as a choreographer. She's an actor and a director. She's Rebekah Merriman. Then later in the show, we're visited by Ebenezer Scrooge. Well, we're joined by the man that plays him in A Christmas Carol, Tom Roberts, great actor and author. Plus, we'll tell you who gets this week's honorable mention, as well as draw for another winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. But first, let's pop the cork on this bubbly little show.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day in your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Oh, and today we're going to party all together. Yeah, lift up whatever it is you drink and whatever vessel holds that drink, and toast it to yourselves, at least if you happen to be a Facebook follower or an Instagram follower. And if you're not, well, go ahead, you can toast with us anyway. But to all of you, we have now hit another milestone. We have eclipsed 700 Facebook followers. You know, we continue to grow in so many ways and always looking to do more for you to have reason to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's time to pick a lucky winner of Pizza with a Podcaster. Everyone that follows the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook or Instagram automatically entered to win a free pizza from Sonny's Pizzeria. We draw a winner each week. This week we say congratulations to Eric Miller. We'll be in touch with you, Eric, to get you all set up for some jowl-dropping, show-stopping thin crust pizza. Pizza with a Podcaster is brought to you by Sonny's Pizzeria right across from USF at 26th and Waltz and Sonny's at 81 on South Phillips. Check out the very fun and incredibly flavorful menu online, sonnyspizzeria.com. Honorable mention. I see a trend coming here in the honorable mention. Usually it's something that has happened during the week that really has excited me. But in this case, it's more some of the things we can't get to because I've got so many things that I'm headed to. But one I would love to catch if I had the time, and I've done it in the past several times. You should too. The South Dakota Symphony Orchestra, Christmas with the Symphony, 'Tis the Season, takes place at the Washington Pavilion Saturday night at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon at 2:30. They'll be joined by the Symphony Orchestra. That program always includes a sing-along at the end. Very enjoyable, highly recommended. Speaking of recommendations, I recommend you stick around for some great arts and entertainment conversations. Later in the hour, the amazing actor and author Tom Roberts tells us about playing Scrooge in the upcoming Premiere Playhouse production of A Christmas Carol. Coming up next, Rebekah Merriman will be playing one of the March Sisters in Goodnight Theater Collective's production of Little Women. She talks about that and her many other talents in the arts on the Dave Holly Hour.
Comedy magician and hypnotist Jesse Moffitt's right. He can't play the piano, but he can sure entertain crowds with his amazing magic and clever quips. His shows always make the participants the stars, especially when they've fallen asleep on stage. They've been hypnotized. Are you the party planner in your group? Then you owe it to your group to make the event magical, even if it puts you to sleep. Here's how.
For booking information, go to Jesse Moffitt Entertainment on Facebook. That's JESSEMOFFITT. Or call 605-929-0964.
Helping women feel empowered and confident is what Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th does, while supplying high-quality clothing that fits your lifestyle, personality, and price point. Whether you want comfy and cozy, casual attire, or something for a special occasion, Posh provides quality, selection, and value. They carry sizes extra small to 3X and have something appropriate for any age. Feel empowered and get confident. Posh Boutique at the Bridges at 57th.
Arts and entertainment lovers, you hit the mark. It's the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. You want me to say it? I know you all know how to say it now. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. Always a pleasure to have new guests on. How we weren't able to arrange it prior is probably because she has very little time, because she's always involved in the arts and entertainment. Rebekah Merriman, how are you?
I'm doing so well this morning, Dave.
Glad to hear that. You know what's crazy about this is I'm sitting here thinking, okay, where are we even going to start with talking to Rebekah Merriman about everything that she is involved in? And we'll get to that in just a moment, but I also kind of wanted to put into the introduction that if you haven't seen her on stage, you've probably seen something that she has made happen on stage, whether it's the acting or whether it's the dancing, because she's a great choreographer, she's a dancer herself, she's an actor, she's a director. Anything else? Did we miss anything on the resume?
I don't know. That is a big hunk of my resume for sure.
What came first, acting or directing or the dancing?
That's a good question. I grew up a dancer, so I started taking dance lessons when I was pretty young. And my first stage performance was I came up with the Girl Scouts and auditioned for Cinderella.
Oh, my.
And I was the only girl from my small town that got cast because my mom told me just keep smiling, smile the whole time. And I got cast as the lead mouse in Cinderella. So then I kind of fell in love with acting as well. So acting and dancing kind of growing up. Yeah. But as far as like getting into working in theater in Sioux Falls, for sure started as a choreographer. That's where it started. And then from there went into directing. But I love, anytime I have an opportunity to perform, I love acting, I love dancing. So, I love all those all the things.
And I've seen you in many things, and of course, dancing included. And so you are part of Lyra. Mm-hmm. Let's see, you are part of DAPA.
Yes.
Okay. So we can talk about that. You're part of Good Night Theater Collective.
Yes.
You also have done work with the Premiere Playhouse.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So, wow, that's a lot right there. That would keep you busy. And so let's start with Good Night Theater, because next week it will be another Good Night Theater production. And this one is Little Women.
Yes.
Classic tale. And it's being brought to the stage, thank you to GNTC. And what are you doing in this production then?
Well, in this show, I get to act. I'm so excited.
Hey, there we go. We get to see you on stage again.
Yes. I'm playing Meg March, the oldest of the March girls.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's been fun to play a big sister because I'm a middle child. So,
okay.
So I've been envisioning my oldest sister.
Oh, that's where the energy's coming from?
What would Sarah do?
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about her a lot as I've been playing Meg, but it's been a lot of fun to get back to acting for sure.
What is it like when you have to be in a role that is so iconic? Because it's been done as a movie how many times, and on stage and the musicals and everything. That's a lot, because you still, as an actor, always want to make it your role.
Right.
How did you approach this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped to have read the book and been familiar with the story. And also, yes, I've seen so many of the film adaptations. So you come in already knowing like so much of the character of just the family and the story that they're trying to tell and how important family is to each of the characters as well. So it was interesting because it's the first time I've actually played like a role that I knew that much coming in about,
Right.
if that makes sense, that famous of a role. And so, but it was fun to like in that, I think in rehearsals to just to get to play with how each of us as actors interpreted that, brought our own kind of personalities to it. So it was fun to figure out ways of making it our own still. And I think, like I said before, like thinking through like what would my sister do, like trying to get in the head of an oldest
So
child.
if we don't
which
know
is-
your older sister, we can go to this show and go, so that's what an older sister's like, huh?
Yes, exactly. So it was fun to try to get into it, like into the headspace of like I'm so not used to being the one like the caretaker and in charge, and
Right.
Meg is so she's the bossy older sister in a lot of ways, but just wants to take care of her younger sisters, and so it was fun to like to jump into that, and it was really fun to see too how quickly the four of us sisters and Amy Morrison, who plays Marmee, our
Oh,
mom,
amazing.
just connected. We just felt so comfortable with each other right away, and that helped so much too in rehearsals to
Well,
build out.
and that is a trademark of so many productions around here. The casting
Yep.
is just phenomenal, and especially in Goodnight Theater. It's always fun to watch. And as you mentioned, Amy Morrison's in there, and there's a few newbies that are in as well. So how was it in terms of getting some of those people into the Goodnight mode?
Yeah. Well, what was fun is this is actually Lily Satterley who's playing Beth. It's her first Good Night show. But I actually knew Lily from USF. I used to choreograph USF shows. So I knew her from then. So she was a student when I was working with USF. And so it was fun to like get to reconnect with her. I'm like, oh, Lily, yay. I already love you. So this is just fun. And so she's the newbie in the group. But this will be the first time I think seeing Whitney in a musical. She's been in some cabarets. And I had I'd choreographed her in cabarets before. And so it was fun to just get to see her as an actress too. She plays Amy and she's so sweet and so funny. And it has brought the little girl character to life so well. So yeah. And Debbie, I've worked with so many times. So it was. I played her older sister before, actually. So, it was.
So, as someone that's been a choreographer, a director, and so forth, and then you go back to the acting part, and you're going through rehearsals, are you sitting there in your mind going, I might do this a little differently, or I'm guessing though that the way that directors here seem to work is that you have some freedom, especially when they know your talent level. Correct?
Yeah. Rachel Payne is our director, and she's doing a lovely, lovely job. And I feel like she's really trusted us as actors to help to create our characters. But I've loved her direction for sure, like her ideas and the way she's helped us to think through things, and just giving us the freedom to try different things as well in that. There really hasn't been too many times where I'm like, oh no, do it this way. There hasn't been really
Veto override.
Yeah, exactly. Any of those moments, which has been wonderful. I feel like she's done a great job directing, and I've loved getting to work with her and just hear her ideas and
So will a memoir of your acting career be called From a Mouse to Meg?
There you go. Oh, I love it, Dave. That's great. From a
We
mouse
can
to
mark
Meg. Yes,
that.
there you go. That's awesome.
All right, so that's what's coming up. And in fact, we will be there at the added show of Wednesday night.
Yes.
Because we had tickets, because we're season ticket holders, we had the tickets to the Thursday night show. Well, then there's this crotchety old character in a wheelchair that is in Late Night Boomin', and they had to reschedule their show to December 15th. So, thankfully, they came up with this show on the 14th for us to attend. Otherwise, it's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday as well, or just
What-
Wednesday, Thursday?
It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the
Okay.
Pavilion.
Oh,
And
that's
then,
right.
yes, and then Saturday night there's a dinner theater at Dada.
Okay.
And then a Sunday brunch show at Dada.
Whew.
I know. It's going to be a full weekend of
Yeah.
shows, so it's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, but that's also a great tribute to a good night is that you have to add shows.
Mm-hmm.
I recall, we went to the very first cabaret, and it was like, okay, what's this going to be about? It's like, wow, they're filling this up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bob was on my podcast very early on,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking about it, and he says, we didn't know if we were even going to get 25 people. And then, all of a sudden, the next show, they got to do 2 of them and so forth.
Yep.
And it's just so great to see that. And it's so great to see the growth of everything that's happening. So let's move on. And talking about growth then, let's talk about the youth.
Yeah.
With DAPA, you're involved in that too.
Yes.
And along with Debbie Jones and so forth. And boy, I tell you what, I'm so impressed with where that's growing to. 20 years ago, I was actually one of the directors of Plays for Living.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and along with Sarah Crosby and Lee Shackelford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and but to see where that has moved on to now to full productions
Yes.
and the collaboration of having adults in some of those as well.
Yes.
What has been your favorite part of being involved in that?
Oof. That is like asking me to pick a favorite kid. No, I don't know. Man, DAPA's my heart. I love DAPA so much. I've been a part of it for, I think 10 years now. And I think I just love seeing kids realize potential, like getting to see them dream big and, get to take on challenging roles of like, oh, I don't know that I can dance that. I don't know that I can sing that. Or how do I play this character? And like getting to see them grow in that and grow in that confidence and also just build relationships with each other. It's so fun to see just how well the students love each other and are for each other and are excited for each other, and to have that kind of, just beautiful environment where kids can come and just feel safe and free to try things and free to fail in that, and know that they're going to be, just accepted in that group. And so, I love DAPA.
And what's great about that is, one of the things that gets talked about on this show often is the theater family or the arts family and so forth. And so they get that at a young age, and they can build on that, and they will always have those memories and continue on.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'll see them in TPP, GNTC, OTDT, and MCAP.
Yep.
I'm just going with all caps
I
on
love
everything
yes.
for now. But that part is wonderful. And the other thing, I know that when Sarah Crosby started this, she said that every kid in Sioux Falls is as talented as every kid in Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York. They just haven't had the opportunities.
Yep.
And the thing that I've really begun to notice is, 25 years ago when I first met Sarah, if somebody majored in theater at USF or Augie, they probably were going to have to go to a bigger city to find employment in it. Now they can stay home. There's people that make a living in the arts and entertainment now in this town, and it's so fun. How have you seen it in the 10 years you've been involved in DAPA as well as outside of DAPA, the growth of arts and entertainment? What do you think of everything that's going on?
Yes. Well, I am one of those theater majors from USF. And so, yes, after I graduated, I didn't think I'd stay here at first because I had lived in New Orleans before actually going to college, moved back, went to college. And I was like, oh, I'll leave again. I need to be in a big city. And then I just kind of slowly started to get connected with different people. It was fun. I choreographed at Old Town.
Okay.
And that's how I met Roseanne. And then Roseanne connected me with Bob, and that's how I
Right.
got into DAPA. And so I started to make these connections. And little by little, it's like, man, okay, there's more opportunities. Okay, now I can go back and start to work at the USF Theater Program. That's awesome. And starting to see, just those more opportunities, people being able to grow seasons and more theater companies popping up. And it's like, this is so cool to watch people kind of dream these things of like, well, we could do this. Like, seeing Debbie like Monstrous coming up, and so it's been just so fun to watch the growth of theater and just the opportunities to get to perform, and for people who are passionate about different things get to realize that Sioux Falls is now big enough for not only those ideas to come, but for the people then to fill them. Like there's the talent there as well, for those things to get to come to life and to thrive. And so it's been fun to watch the growth of that. And now it's like, oh man, if I moved anywhere else, I wouldn't get to do all the things I love. Like I love the size of Sioux Falls because I get to direct, choreograph, but also dance and act. And that's a cool thing, to get to have those connections built over years, and the opportunity to do all those things. So.
And then think of the venues that we now have too. Who'd have thought that we'd be seeing performances of all sorts in a place called the Icon, or Full Circle Book Co-op. And in terms of the music in town, all the places that have live music on weekends and so forth. It's just amazing what this town does provide. And we're glad that you decided to stay here instead of going back to a bigger city. Thank you very much. We appreciate it because, first of all, you happen to be a joy to watch on stage. I was thinking of that this past Saturday night as part of Lyra. You were also part of yet another one that we hadn't mentioned yet, Broadcast Theater. Their little black dress review. And Lyra did a couple of numbers in there that were outstanding. In fact, I think one of them got a standing ovation. And the thing that I noticed is, because I've always dealt with a weight issue, so I'm not much of a dancer. But to know what physically goes into all of that, and then to see the fact that all four of you were smiling the entire time, and it wasn't just a, hey, we have to smile because we're on stage. It was joy. And when you look at that and see that, it's like, this is so great because not only are you being entertained, you're seeing high-class entertainment, you're seeing somebody's passion. Yeah. And obviously, you've got a passion for arts in general, but also, in all these facets, especially of theater. And what do you think is missing at this point? What does Sioux Falls still need?
Oh, man. That's a great question.
Wow, I got in two this interview. Normally, I only get in one.
What are we missing? I don't know. That is a good question. That isn't something I've thought about. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one, Dave.
Well, we'll let you. Because that means you'd have to come back and answer it sometime.
I like it. I'll
on
do
a second
that.
episode.
Okay. You stumped me.
All right. So let's talk dance for a little bit then. Lyra, we just mentioned, collaborated this past weekend. But also, so many things that go on with Lyra and all the offshoots of that. Your involvement has included what?
Okay. Yeah.
A whole separate resume there, isn't it?
Yes, I've been dancing with Lyra now, I think 5 seasons. Yeah, I think it's 5. And I've known Lisa and Raina the whole time Lyra's existed. Have just loved it, and it was like, okay, I gotta audition. I gotta be a part of this. I just miss dancing and getting to perform. And so I've been performing with them for 5 seasons. I've also the last couple of years have helped to MC as well, which has been kind of crazy to like help MC, then go put on a costume and then dance and then come back out and tell them about the next dance. So, but I love that. Like I love, it's a part of all the things that I love of being in front of people and hosting. So I've helped with Lyra. I've also choreographed for them. I got to do that 2 years ago, which was a whole lot of fun. To get to choreograph a piece for their summer show.
Recall that.
Yeah. And so it's been fun. I love Lisa and Raina, and I love just all the dancers in that group. They're so talented, and they challenge me to get better, like to keep growing. I know I'm like in my 40s, and so I'm like, keep working hard. You can keep doing these things, trying to keep up with the 20-year-old dancers. But it's a good challenge, and I love that. So.
Well, I turn 60 next week, so yeah. Keeping up with the Joneses isn't anything possible anymore. What does it take to be a good dancer? Because you said, with all your dance experience, you're still learning, being challenged.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like that's such a just a foundational part of dancing is that you just keep learning. You keep taking classes. You keep because you have to keep your body, like your body's your instrument, right? So you have to keep it working all the time because like when you don't use it, you lose it for sure in dance. Like you lose that flexibility and that strength. And so I think staying active and taking class and being challenged in that way and be willing to, like, I love, like, I'm not a hip hop dancer, but it's fun to like be challenged to like try like hip hop and try different things. And so like that I think for dancing is something that keeps it exciting too. Like I love the challenge of like that, you can always be growing in it. So I think that staying active and taking class and getting to work with different choreographers and dancers because you find inspiration in how other people work and how they choreograph. And just after the Lyra show this year, I got to work with a new choreographer. Her name is Hannah Nichols, and she's actually from Sioux Falls, but now dances in London. And she set a piece on Lyra that I'm in, and it is you'll see it in the show this summer. It is, I think it's 17 minutes long, and she challenged us in a lot of ways. It's such an interesting piece about like corn and like South Dakota and growth and things like that. And so it's like such an interesting piece. And so like I had never done anything that really contemporary before. And so it was a fun challenge to be like, okay, this is brand new for me. And I can do it. Like, let's try this. So, so I love Lyra and like they bring in different choreographers. And so just the challenge of learning something new.
Well, I have no doubt that you will tackle it and do quite well with it. What has been your most memorable moment of dance?
Oh, man. Okay, this is tough. Ooh. Wow, Dave, you keep stumping me. Okay, so I think...
hit the trifecta today.
Yes, I think this is one that popped in my head. It was like the first thing that I got to choreograph for theater.
Okay.
And so when I was still a student at USF, and I got to choreograph for the musical Crazy for You, the 10-minute I Got Rhythm dance.
Wow.
And it's a beast. It's 10 minutes long, and it's like full crazy. Yeah, and so it's like I got asked to choreograph it, and I was like, yes, this is amazing, And so I think like for me, getting to see that on stage and I could do this. Like I can come up with dances and it works and everyone loved it, and that to me, like, I not only can I dance, but now I can start to create. I think opened up a whole world for me, and so like that was such a cool, like, that stands out as something that like kind of changed. Maybe I could do this. Yeah. Maybe I could choreograph.
That's
like this would be cool.
Moment. Yeah. And do choreographers ever run out of ideas?
Yes, there are definitely times where I'm
when you're filming 10 minutes or 17 minutes, like you mentioned earlier.
There are definitely times when things can stump me, and I might need to sit with it for a while for sure. That definitely has happened. Yes, we don't. Yeah, there's been times where I'm like, oh boy, hopefully maybe in the moment I don't know quite what I'm gonna do, but maybe when I get there I'll figure it out. Yeah, there's been those moments for sure.
Wonderful. So again, let's kind of go through the schedule. Next week you've got Goodnight Theater Collective, Little Women, that you were acting in, and that starts on Wednesday, goes through Sunday.
There's actually a show this coming Sunday in Canton.
Oh, wow.
Too. So, yep. So this Sunday at 4 in Canton is our first show.
All righty.
Yep, and then we'll move up to Sioux
Falls.
I
have not been there yet, but I've heard it's an outstanding venue.
I haven't been there yet either, so I'm super excited to see it.
Awesome. And then what's coming up after that for you? What else are you involved in?
Yes, what's kind of nice is my January, February is pretty open because I've got a lot of prep to do. So I'm choreographing SpongeBob the Musical for DAPA this spring, which I'm so excited about. I love that musical. It's just such a happy musical.
Gee, Mr. Squidward.
Exactly, right? It's just so fun. And then for Goodnight, I am directing Company. And that's in May. So I need to do a lot of kind of prep work of January, February. So so it'll be a busy spring, kind of start March. It'll be kind of a crazy 3 months, but yeah.
All right,
so that's what's coming up.
Well, we're glad that you're busy because it's always good. So when you're not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by?
Man. I do love going to listen to live music.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I really enjoy that. I love. What am I entertained by? I mean, outside of like theater and dance things.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to go to those things, obviously. But yeah, I love live music. I mean, I love to read. Is that
Okay.
entertainment?
Well, yes, it is.
I go to the movies. I
Authors
love
write
going to the
stories.
movies.
The
Yes.
stories become movies or plays, or
Yeah.
plays become. Yeah.
Yeah, I love going to the movies. I love the State Theater. It's fun to go down there
wow.
and see a show. And like, especially like seeing shows like from my childhood. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I haven't thought about that movie in forever.
Yeah.
So
Well, my love's favorite moment at the State was when we sat in there for the first time and the movie starts and you could hear everybody open their ears.
yes.
All right. Time for any other hobbies?
Oh man. Well, I spend a lot of time with my dog,
Okay.
Goldberry, and so that's a hobby. I love to cook. I love to bake.
Go-to meal?
Oh man, anything pasta.
Okay.
I love pasta.
All right. And your premier baking?
Ooh. I love to make like
It's Christmas. Mhm.
I know. Well, that's kind of fun. So I love to make like authentic like British tea things because I have a Jane Austen
wow.
book club, and so actually right now I'm making Christmas pudding like in traditional because you're supposed to let it sit for like 3 weeks before you actually
Wow.
serve it, and you like feed it with brandy, like you pour a little brandy in it every few days. So
there.
I'm doing it on the authentic way this year for the first time. So I'm super excited about it. So. I love like that kind of like traditional like scones and crumpets and clotted
Wow,
cream
wow.
and all those kind of yummy
Wonderful.
things. Yes.
Well, Rebekah Merriman, thank you so much for taking time to be on the Dave Holly Hour. It's
Yes.
been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit more and to talk about everything that you do. And, of course, to now have the thought that you will return as a guest to answer some more questions.
Yes. I love it.
Thanks, Rebekah.
You're very welcome.
And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Ladies, when it's time to give your nails some love, get that extra special treatment from Quality Nails on South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls. Manicures and pedicures that look great and make you feel fantastic. Zaya and Tony provide professional care for your hands and feet, whether you just want the basics or an extra special look with added flair. Oh, and guys, it's okay to treat yourself too. Quality Nails. Call for an appointment. 605-334-1463.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation. 605-332-9235 or exokairos.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
For him, every day is a holly day. Here again, Dave Holly.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh, yes, it is. It's always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. That's what we're here for. And joining us now is a man that, well, I would say needs no introduction, but I haven't had him on the show yet in 3 years, despite the fact that he was on that original list. But you got to wait for the timing to be right and so forth. He is a local actor. He is an author. And he's just a darn good guy. Tom Roberts, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. And the reason we have you is the fact that you are getting ready to be Scrooge once again for A Christmas Carol.
That's right.
At the Premiere Playhouse. And, you know, for a nice guy to go into a role like that, is it fun?
Oh,
challenging?
It's all of the above. It's both fun and a whole lot of work. But we're having just a wonderful time. We have such a great cast, and a lot of young people in this cast with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. It's sometimes hard for me to keep up, let me tell you.
Well, I know that last year, the first year that they had it here, and now it's going to be, or at least the premise is that it will be a yearly event now,
right?
For TPP. And so you knew it was coming up again. And did you want to play Scrooge again?
I did.
Or was it, hey, you did such a great job? Because we saw it last year, and you were absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you. I did want to play it again, but I had to think hard about it because it is so much work. There's a lot of physicality that goes into it, and it's a big time commitment, too.
True.
We start back at the early part of October, and there's a lot of rehearsals because there's a lot of moving parts to a show like this, and a lot of people. And I give our director Larry Yetton a lot of credit because sometimes it's like herding cats, all these different people with their schedules and timelines and things like that, trying to make it all work, trying to get everybody there at the same time to work through scenes and things like that, and the timing. But he does it, and he does a fantastic job at it.
All right. So with it having been a year ago, how many of the lines did you remember?
I actually did pretty good. I didn't have so much difficulty with the lines as just kind of the tempo, how to make everything connect. Mm-hmm. And what has really helped tremendously this year, that we didn't have the advantage last year, is having the set to actually rehearse on. Last year, we just had little tape marks on a warehouse floor, and we didn't have an actual set to work on except for maybe a few days before the performance. But this year, we had a good portion of the set, not all of it, but a good portion of it to rehearse on, and that helps tremendously just to get that mind and body memory of where you're supposed to be at whatever time you're supposed to be there.
What got you into acting?
I was a shy farm boy, and I was kind of introduced to theater in middle school, and I thought, this is fascinating. I not because of ego. I was just intrigued at the behavior of people, kind of studying people. And then when I got into high school, I had the advantage of having a really good teacher who was very encouraging and had a way of helping me to look at things from a lot of different perspectives, not from just, saying your lines up there, but thinking about how people perceive you and how what you're saying resonates with people, and trying to listen to yourself and thinking about all of those different aspects. And I guess as time went on, I became more and more intrigued with people's behavior, why they say and do the things they do, and how I can use that in my performances, whether it's on the stage, whether it's as a storyteller, or even if I'm writing a story. I go through that same process and think about all of those different aspects.
So what got you to Ebenezer Scrooge?
Well,
what reference did you put in for that?
He's one of my favorite characters. I grew up with the inspiration coming from one of my favorite all-time Christmas stories, is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yeah. And so, anybody who knows that story knows there's a lot of similarities between the Grinch and old Scrooge, and there's something about that transformation of a heart like that in a story like that touches me, and I think it touches a lot of people. It intrigues me of how that transformation works, and I like the creativity of being a part of that process.
Well, your creativity definitely came through seeing it last year when that transformation does take place, because you've talked already about physicality. I've never seen somebody get so excited when that happens. I'm sitting there going, okay, I know how old I am, and I'm pretty sure Tom and I are of the same ilk. And it's like, wow.
I tell you,
how many times did you have to rehearse that little?
I have to push hard because at that point I'm really spent. I'm on stage for a good nearly 3 hours. And I don't leave the stage during that whole time, and so throughout that whole period of time, I have to be continually focused at all times. And I finally get to that point, and I just have to push to get that energy up, because if I don't, I'm not going to have anything to show anybody. And so I do have fun. It's kind of my release at that point there, and hopefully it plays well to the audience.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show, so we look forward to seeing it again. I believe my love and I are going to be on the 30th.
Oh, wonderful.
We'll be there for that presentation.
Yeah, we have a little different timeline this year, starting December 17th and running through the 30th this year. So it goes, right up to Christmas and then beyond it, too. So that'll be all good, though, because I think there'll be a lot of people home for the holidays.
True.
Maybe you want to have a little fun family experience, because it is, it really is a great show for the entire family.
True.
That people can feel good about bringing their kids to.
Yeah, and I know that is one of the things that, they wanted to be able to use that as part of it, that, hey, people are together, families are together. Here's your opportunity to come see a great high-quality production. Now, you have been around this town for a while as an actor, as an author, and so forth. How have you seen it in terms of the growth of theater and entertainment and arts in general here?
In theater in particular, I've seen the roller coaster ride of theater, as it does, I think, in a lot of places around the country, perhaps around the world. I don't know. But I kind of entered this theater community back in 1979. Larry Etten was one of my very first directors, in fact. And Annie Zabel from the Annie Zabel Theater, she was in the very first production I was in here. And at that time, I remember coming into it and hearing of the golden era of theater when we had the likes of Annie Zabel and Ray Loftusness and so many other, I'm sure, names that people would recognize from over the years, had done classic shows, the theater. And we were kind of coming into it as the young people are now, and just trying to make our mark in the world of theater here in Sioux Falls. That time it was just a pastime for a lot of people, but then we saw it grow, I think, in the 80s and early 90s, and then we kind of cycled through. We had some difficult bumps in the road there, and then things kind of changed up, and then it came back around again, and it's continuing to grow, I think, now. Now we see so many theaters popping up, out to the Worthing Dinner Theater. We've got the Corson Mighty Fine Arts Players out there. We've got the strong college theater productions going on. And more and more, we're seeing all kinds of arts in many different capacities coming to the forefront here in Sioux Falls, which is a wonderful thing. I think it's important for us to have that kind of value that the city needs to connect with and share.
I just like to think of it, especially like even the past 10 years.
Yeah.
What's taken place, all the new venues that are available for people to hold shows, from a Full Circle Book Club to, people performing at the Icon.
Yeah.
And all the different options that are available, breweries and so forth. And both for, the performing arts in terms of theater, poetry, music.
People performing online.
True. Yeah, well, and that had to be done for a while.
Yeah.
With the pandemic. Yeah, that is correct pronunciation. So what do you like about getting into a role? We talked about Scrooge a little bit already, but you've played a lot of different things.
It's it's like a puzzle. I love puzzles and trying to kind of make that role my own and bring it to life, and trying to figure out how that all connects, not only with the storyline, but with all the other characters. I'm an actor who likes business. I love business on stage, filling my moments with whatever that might be. Fidgeting, I always have to have some kind of purpose behind what I'm doing, where I'm at, in what I'm saying. And I like figuring that out. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about those kinds of things.
Listening is a big key in acting, isn't it?
It really is.
And-
Yeah, really
and
staying
not-
focused.
Not just for the cue that now it's your line, but actually listening as to what they are saying as their character.
Exactly. I hear a lot of actors who say, I've got so many lines. I'm always trying to think of what my next line is. And I always try to tell them, you should never think about your lines. Ever think about your lines. Your lines should just come naturally. By that time, it should be physical memory. And whatever is happening, it's like, oh, yeah, that's just the natural thing that you're going to say at that moment there. But it takes a while to kind of get into that frame of mind, understanding that, and practicing. Lots and lots and lots of practice. Yeah.
So you said it started back in October for A Christmas Carol. So how much, because we already talked about the fact that, you were able to remember quite a few lines from last year and so forth, but on a typical show, you're talking about this practice. What kind of regiment do you go through for learning the lines?
Some of my best practice is in my vehicle when I'm driving to and from work, and at the rehearsal practice itself. Again, having that physicality to move from point A to point B, and this is what I say. If I can do that a few times, I can kind of imprint that and set that in my memory. That really helps me tremendously to do that. And just being willing to go over it and over it and over it and approach it as many different ways you can to make sense out of it and bring it to life. Have some fun with it. Use your voice in some different ways and see what you can bring to life.
All right. A seasoned actor such as yourself, Larry Etten was your first director. He's the director that you're working with right now. Mm-hmm. How much freedom does he give you?
He's pretty good about that. The thing is with Larry, if anybody who knows Larry, he is very detail oriented. Mm-hmm. He, when you work on a production with Larry, he has thought everything out, everything, not just the direction, not just your blocking, but lines and why you're saying your lines, why you're moving the way you're moving. And it's not just you, it's the way that what you're doing affects everybody else and affects the storyline, affects the look of the show. But saying that, he is always very open to allowing us to, try things out. And I do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I try too much stuff. And what I appreciate about Larry is he'll tell me. I can always count on him to say, Tom, that doesn't quite work. Try something else. And I trust that because, when you're up on stage, you can't see yourself. You can't hear yourself. And so you got to really trust that other point of view out there. And that's why he's the director. That's what he's there for. And so I'm grateful. I trust him to be able to do that for me.
All right. So Ebenezer Scrooge sees different ghosts, past, present, future, all of that and so forth. Which one scares Tom Roberts?
Which one scares me the most? I suppose the ghost of Christmas future. I think it would scare most people, what's out there, what's coming up, know. But I've given a lot of thought to what transforms Scrooge, and I don't think it's the ghosts. The ghosts are simply a vehicle. What in this particular production, I think what transforms Scrooge the most is watching the family of Bob Cratchit and watching that interaction that he never had. He had a tough time of it growing up, and he let that define who he became. But now he watches and listens in, because the ghosts help him do that, this family of Bob Cratchit, who is poor, they've got a sickly child, and yet they are so full of optimism and support of each other And I think that's what really takes him off guard, really something that really resonates with him and affects him the most.
All right, and you will be playing that part again this year. And A Christmas Carol at the Premiere Playhouse starts on the 17th, runs through the 30th this year. So make sure you get your tickets. Better yet, just become a season ticket holder. It's so much easier. But let's move on then and talk about so many other things that you do. Another book that you've written?
Yes, I just launched a brand new book this fall called Christmas Reflections. It's a bit of a departure from my other Christmas books that I've written in that it's not just a single story, it's actually 12.
Okay.
A collection, an anthology, if you will, short stories that I've written over the years for different events, and thought it was time to kind of put them all together and present it as something that people can use as perhaps a personal devotional, or maybe for Advent readings, or something to read before opening presents. You know, I have a lot of people that come up to me during my book signings and say that that's what they do, and that's so gratifying. They use my books because there's just little short stories, almost like parables, that they can read to their family just to keep Christmas in perspective before opening their presents.
Out of those 12, is there one that you suggest being the first to read?
Well, the very first one that we launched that whole Christmas book project as a benefit for Children's Home 20 years ago, "'Twas the Night Before Christ, is always a great beginner. I wrote that when I was stranded in a blizzard way back when, and I've had so many people say they still read that one. They've used it for their kids' Christmas programs at church. They give it as a gift for babies that are born and things like that, as kind of a starter Christmas book. I can't tell you how good that makes me feel that people are using my books like that.
And so 12 stories now, and where can we find this?
Well, you can, of course, find it online at Children's Home's website, which is chssd.org/books. You can purchase it there and have it shipped to you. Or here in Sioux Falls, there are several retail locations. We got them at Barnes & Noble. We got them at Crossroads. We have them at Nyberg's Ace, believe it or not, at the hardware store. They carry our newest book there. They've always been long-time supporters. They are really good people. Kidtopia, Child's Play. Now, if you're out in the Black Hills, of course, you can catch it out at Found by the Weathered Vein. Up in Aberdeen, Watertown, Blessings Big and Small in the malls there. They carry it as well. You know, we just got so many wonderful people who are supportive of the mission and the project, and it's just a great gift for a great cause.
Speaking of great gifts for great cause, you mentioned it, and the fact that is, the place that you are employed, Children's Home, and right. You were telling me that there's two big gift-giving projects that are going on right now that take a little work. Tell us about
That's
those.
right. We've got a lot of activity going on there right now with what we call the Georgetown project and the North Pole project. And these are projects where gifts are collected, many of them from volunteers. The Georgetown are gifts that the kids will get to pick out to give to families and friends. And then the North Pole is the gifts that we collect from volunteers, businesses, and supporters from all throughout the area that will be given to the kids at Christmas time.
Fantastic. And how can the people help out with that?
All you need to do is get online and check us out on our website to find out how you can get involved. Or give us a call. Another wonderful way that people can get involved is through the Children's Home Shelter for Family Safety, formerly known as Children's Inn. Yeah. They're part of our organization as well. And right now they have their Christmas gift wrap booth out at the mall. And
I remember a really crazy commercial from some.
Yeah. But, I think during the course of the season, they use about 900 some volunteers that help out with wrapping gifts out there, and the money they collect will all go to help those kids and families that they serve.
Wonderful stuff, no doubt about it. But you always do wonderful stuff. I'm going to ask you a favor. I know you don't have the book in front of you and so forth, but can we hear just a little bit of the Grinch?
Of the Grinch?
The Grinch.
Oh, let's see if I can do that. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. Oh, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. Oh, but the most likely reason of all was that the Grinch's heart was 2 sizes too small.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for spending some time with us. A couple of questions I always like to
pleasure.
end with. When you're not involved in the arts and entertainment and you want to go take in some arts and entertainment, what do you enjoy?
Well, of course, I always love the theater, what the Premiere Playhouse puts on there, or at the Worthing Dinner Theater. I like that as well. I like to take in movies, of course, a good concert in town as well. And once in a while, I like to take in maybe a comedian, a stand-up comedian.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Time for other hobbies?
I don't know what that would be.
I kind of figured that might be the answer. All right, my friend. Tom Roberts, thank you so much.
Thank you
for spending some time with us. And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Sure, they have darts, and you've heard me talk about how ruggedly handsome the trivia host is, but all caps fun never stops at the Sky Lounge and Tea. And fun is best had with your friends enjoying live entertainment, as in live and local. Yeah, the Sky Lounge believes in giving you the best bands, solo artists, and comedians from the area. The Neo Johnsons, Elizabeth Hunstead, Skylar Volks, as well as many others. And a great staff will make sure you enjoy your fun at the Sky Lounge in Tea, South Dakota.
145 over 92.
180 over 111. I had a heart attack and a cardiac arrest and then a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering your high blood pressure could save you from a heart attack or stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
I'm Dave Holly, and I'm a voice actor. Most of you recognize radio and television as places you'll hear what's commonly called a voiceover. But that's less than 20% of the business. Good chance you're in that 80% that needs a great voice for your business, organization, or special event. Adding audio to a website, well-articulated voice messages, or narrating training or promotional videos all make a positive impact. Make your impact. Connect with me, Dave Holly, on LinkedIn.
From the Dipsy Doodle Studios at the world headquarters of Big D Entertainment, a 40-square-foot home studio in the middle of America, it's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Rebekah Merriman and Tom Roberts. Thanks to the wonderful people at The Source, where we held this week's conversations. And, of course, thank you for listening, downloading, sharing, following in social media, and your overall support of this show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a program reminder, next week will be our final episode prior to the end of the year. There's a guy in a red suit that's a little bit busy. By the way, if you haven't so far, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which automatically gets you entered for Pizza with a Podcaster. For all 159 episodes, go online, DaveHollyHour.com. As the Sioux Falls Arts Council says, together we art. As Arts South Dakota says, home is where the art is, and as I like to say, put some art in your heart. Remember, I'm Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Posh Boutique, The Sky in Tea, XL Chiropractic, Quality Nails, Jesse Moffitt Entertainment, and Sonny's Pizzeria. If you would like to contribute to the continued success of this podcast, simply buy Dave a cup of coffee. Go to DaveHollyHour.com and look for a coffee cup icon in the lower left. Don't forget to stay up to date on the show on Twitter and Instagram. Follow the Dave Holly Hour on Facebook, and you'll be automatically entered in our Pizza with a Podcaster contest. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.